And today we are going to talk about a very unique technology with the goal to enable you to formulate new product based on this advanced technology to moisturize the skin. You will see it's not only moisturizing, it's a technology that helps you keep the skin healthy. Also, it's a basic anti-aging technology, and you will see how it's used in a very intelligent utilization of natural ingredients based on science and technology. And this is the structure of my webinar. We talk about science, then we translate the science into technology, and toward the end, we'll show you how to apply it. So if you stay with me to the end, you will get the whole story together. Moisturization cannot be covered in one webinar, so we're scheduling multiple webinars, and this is the first one in our ongoing webinars. So today we're going to talk about the difference between moisturization and hydration, when to use what, how to use what. More specifically, we will focus on one technology, SalSphere Aqua Skin. We talk about the technology, how the technology works, what's the structure, mechanism of working, what are the features, and what are the applications. And of course, we will show you how to use it. I want to announce now that we will have upcoming moisturizing webinars in which we will address other technologies. So there are multiple tactics or strategies, let's say, to address the issue of keeping the skin hydrated and moisturized over time. It is the essential key for anti-aging and for a good appearance of the skin and healthy appearance as well. So we'll talk about SalSphere natural moisturizing factors. We'll talk later about Hydrosol Youth, which is based on hyaluronic acid with other ingredients. And we'll talk about Skin Protect, which is another technology that we use to protect the skin from environmental hazardous factors. And Moisture Guard, a technology, another kind of way to keep the high level of moisture in the skin. So this time we focus on Aqua Skin. Let's identify what exactly the problem that we're trying to resolve. The problem is dry skin. So many people already understand what is dry skin, no need to explain it. But in certain words, I just want to mention the words that we use when we say about repairing or addressing. So what do we address? Tighten, especially after showers, you know, from experience, if you take a shower, you use a soap, your skin feels very tight. That means it's actually drying the skin. The skin looks rough, you see in the picture, and that's obvious, one can see. Itching of the skin, the major reason for itching is dryness of the skin. Flaking, scaling, peeling of the skin, this is all results of dryness. Fine lines, cracked skin, fine lines, early signs of aging on the skin, it's also a result of dryness. Okay, redness of the skin. Not all redness is rosacea, but rosacea can develop from dryness of the skin. Deep cracks, okay, that sometimes even bleed. So there are multiple words that we use to describe dry skin, and dry skin is a major issue that we need to address. If we don't address those, we have complications. Complications that require to take medications, and medication always have side effects. So everything that you see in the picture is a disease. It's not like a simple dryness of the skin. It may have started with dryness of the skin, and maybe the solution, the first solution, would be dryness of the skin or moisturizing of the skin as a solution. So dry skin is usually harmless. That's not a problem for many people to have a temporary dryness of the skin. But when it's not being taken care of, then it can lead to diseases such as atopic dermatitis. In some countries or some people call it eczema. Eczema is when we have an excessive dryness. that can lead to other diseases, including inflammation and severe inflammation, and also infections. Dry skin can lead to infectious disease. So how does it work and why should we address it? That will come up. But I want to raise the motivation for you to understand that moisturization and quality moisturization, which we will talk later on, are key to address the multiple issues that people have with skin before we go into even medical issues. So we talked about dryness of the skin, and the basic question is dryness is the skin itself is dry. So what happens if we drink a lot of water? Does it help us with the dry skin? So the answer is that drinking a lot of water is good for you, but it's not always will help you with issues relating to dry skin. So we need a solution, a topical solution to address dry skin in addition to drinking a good amount of water. So just drinking water is not always the solution. Now, when we go further and we try to analyze, we know that the market is using different words to describe the phenomena. Some people call it hydration. Some people call it moisturizer. So what is the difference? And identifying the specific needs of the skin and the specific purpose of a product to address the need. So let's start with hydration. The skin can get dry or dehydrated. Okay, that means that the skin is lacking water. It's not enough water in the top layer of the skin. So hydration, when you hydrate it, you provide the water, it definitely makes the skin feel soft, feels good and looks good. But if you just hydrate the skin, in other words, if you just add water to the skin, it has a very short time appearance. The water will evaporate. There is a loss of water. The water will escape to the environment, not into the skin, but to the environment. And the effect of hydration is limited unless you have a mechanism to hold the water. So you understand again, hydration is a process to add water, but it has to be combined with a mechanism to retain the water. For example, if you use hyaluronic acid as your major molecule to hydrate, so hyaluronic acid will bind water either from the product or from the atmosphere. But if there is no mechanism to retain the water, you are going to lose the water and come back to the dry skin. Alternative to this, we are talking about moisturization. Moisturization is a situation where the skin is dry and it's lacking oils. So it needs to be moisturized. The oil is the key, not the water. So moisturizing locks in hydration. It protects and enhances the skin natural lipid barrier. That's the purpose of a moisturizer. So when the skin is aging, which happens to all of us, unfortunately or fortunately, happens to all of us, the lipid barrier starts to break down and the skin is losing water. Now, what can we do about this? This is the approach to our technology. What can we do? Now, we know that the skin barrier, and some people call it the stratum corneum, these are the top layers of the skin. This is the barrier for our body to the world. So this is our defense system to defend us from the penetration of bacteria, including viruses. Now it's very current with the coronavirus, but also environmental hazardous factors such as UV, free radicals, pollutions, and this is the barrier for materials from the out inside our skin. When the functions of the barrier function working well, then the skin is plump, Hydrated, that's what we call looking good and feeling good. So the barrier is the issue. Look at this eye image. You see here, this is the corneocyte layer. This is the top layer of the epidermis. Below it, we have the dermis. So when these layers are flattened, cell and layer by layer, then we have a good barrier. However, when the skin is compromised, this is the compromised barrier. You see that the top layer, the barrier, is broken down. Then ingredients, factors could come in and damage our skin. So this is when it comes to protect our skin from outside factors. As I said, outside factor could be anything environmental, bacterial, allergies, for example, inflammatory. So the first hands, when people have inflammation, the first thing is you need a good moisturizer. Now, what happens from the other aspect? The other aspect from losing the water from inside. So you see here the stratum corneum, the barrier, and the epidermal cells. As long as the structure is maintained in this flattened, compact way, the water cannot escape from the skin. However, when we have an issue, when the barrier is broken down, then the water can easily escape and cause the dehydration of the skin. So barrier is the barrier of the skin is our targeted options. This is what we have to repair. And the repair is, of course, cosmetic because we don't penetrate into the skin. We only handle the top layers of the skin. And we can do it in a very effective way if we just understand how to do it. Now, how do you know if your skin barrier is damaged? You see here all kinds of cases that will tell you it's dry, it's flaky, itchy, irritated, or just sensitive skin. So all the things that you see here on these pictures indicate that the major issue is the barrier. And what we need to do is help with the barrier repair. Okay, the consequences of dry skin could be horrendous. It could lead to rosacea. And rosacea now need to take a steroid, for example. And I'm not sure everybody wants to have steroid in the body. Eczema, for example, skin inflammation, and aging. So the focus is really, I hope I raise your motivation to understand what is the skin barrier and how important it is to find a solution. Okay, and we can easily handle the skin barrier, easily. For example, here are 3 advices. Use very gentle cleanser, and I show you an example of one of them. Gentle, use antioxidant, it's always help, and use moisturizer, and a good moisturizer, and we will identify in a minute what is a good moisturizer and how to make it. So what is the current situation in the market? There are multiple products. Okay, there are many products and each one of them has a different strategy in order to address the issue. For example, some people are using botanical oils. They are good if they have essential fatty acids, antioxidant, and they are building up the barrier, the lipids in the barrier. Or some other people are using oil, ceramides, that can penetrate deep into the cells, into the layers of the skin. Some other people are using hyaluronic acid or polysaccharides from algae. These are typically hydrating, not moisturizing. And some other people using peptides. The peptides are helping to bind the water. So there are different strategies. We want to offer you a different type of strategy, a strategy that is more inclusive and works on all layers. So what is the model system that we are looking at? This is the model system. This is a La Mer cream. I'm not promoting here any product. I just want to show you what is the cream and what is the price of the cream. Yes, there are available products and they are not cheap to use and they promise a whole good of things. What is Salvona's technology and what is the big concept of our product. Number one, we talk about hydrating and moisturizing simultaneously. We are talking about enhancing and retaining the absorption of water from the environment. So if hyaluronic acid just bind water, we want to bind but lock it in at the same time. We also want to do with our system is to trigger cellular channels to transport water from the body to the skin. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. In the first place, we're talking about holding the water onto the skin, bringing more water from the environment to the skin and locking it in. The second part is bringing water from inside the skin toward the surface of the skin to hydrate it, so allow it to happen. Typically, it would not happen because water is essential to our internal organs. So typically, the water will be retained in our blood, in our serum, and so on, and not come to the top layer of the skin. Okay, it's not really the most important function of our body to make us look great, especially in the older age. But the mechanism of what we try to do with the technology is to change the transport, allow some water for some time to come from the inside of the body toward the surface of the body, and by doing so, moisturizing the skin. Okay, the other aspect of the technology is to trigger the natural repair process, which means the pathway that rebuild the barrier system. So it's not a one-time solution, but it is a long-term solution. And triggering can happen through different mechanisms, by peptides, for example, by natural moisturizing factors, and so on. So this is the strategy of our technology. What is our specific technology? Now, after the science part, I move on to what is the technology. After understanding how does it work, what do we need, what is the structure of the skin, how the mechanism of the skin works, we can develop a technology. The technology is called SalSphere Aqua Skin. So I will explain a little bit about the technology so you understand the logic of the structure and how the structure helps you to get the results that we expect to get. So we are talking about sub-micron spheres that are about 0.1 to 0.3 micron. It is a suspension form. It's water-based, and it can be incorporated in any kind of product that's based on emulsion, on water. So what is the technology? Let's go in details and start from outside inside. The outside is the shell. The purpose of the shell is, first of all, it's protecting the encapsulated functional ingredients which are in the core, but it also has another function to hydrate the skin. So the shell is made of polysaccharides, mostly from seaweed, and we barely adapted the same phenomena. If you go on the sea and you see on the beach all kinds of algae that are holding the water, how do they hold the water for a long time, especially when they're exposed to heat, dryness, and radiation? We took the same concept and built it up onto the shell. So on the shell, we have some algae extracts, polysaccharides. They give the immediate impact of moisturization, of hydration. They help to absorb water from the environment and also retain the water, okay? Now we have the core. The core is the centerpiece of the technology. It's solid. It's focused on lipid waxes, oils, and combined with humectants. So what does the core do? This is the particle that can penetrate deep into the layers of the skin and provide a long-lasting release. This long-lasting release gives you a long-lasting benefit. Okay, now what does it release? In addition to the lipids and the oils that it's releasing as a building block to the barrier, it's also releasing functional ingredients such as caffeine. And caffeine is the key to open the channels the aquaporine channels to bring the water to the top layer of the skin. Okay, this innovation got a Nobel Prize several years ago when one discovered the aquaporine mechanism, and we make use of this technology. Okay, so what are the unique features of SalSphere Aqua Skin? First of all, you understand that the seaweed polysaccharides has a major role as humectant, the binding the water, and the binding it from the product, and also from the air, and holding on to this. The second part of the mechanism is transport the water from the body to the surface of the body, toward the barrier layers, and this is activating the aquaporine. And as you can see in the diagram, we have this protein units that allow the transport of water toward the surface of the skin. Here you can see in this diagram how the barrier system, the membranes open up when they get activated, such as with caffeine, and therefore water can easily penetrate. Otherwise, water has a hard time to penetrate because the barrier is lipid, and lipid protect it from penetration. Can you use just free caffeine? The answer is you can use whatever you want, but the free caffeine has limited ability to penetrate because it's water soluble. But once we incorporate it in a lipid core, the core is the carrier that brings the caffeine to the deeper layers of the skin. This is how it works. And then the third approach is the peptides, including the lipids that are being delivered. These lipids have a function to build up the microsphere, but also has a function to build up the layers, the laminar structure around the skin, around the cells, and that's what's holding the water. So these are the three mechanisms all incorporated in one, and that's why it's called a technology and not just ingredients that added to the formula. To summarize, you see here, we have the seaweed that contains the polysaccharides, the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and antioxidant. It's just not just the seaweed, is the seaweed extract that contain the polysaccharides and all the rest. Urea is another interesting ingredient that we encapsulate inside the core, and this is a very effective humectant. It moisturizing the skin. It also helps to repair and regulate the barrier structure. Interesting for you to know, urea is a prerequisite to the synthesis of ceramides. So by providing slowly a good amount of urea, we encourage the natural process to produce more of the ceramides. And the ceramide is the laminar layer around the cells that forms the barrier. Caffeine stimulating aquaporine, and it opens up the water channels, as I mentioned before, and of course the lipid and waxes that build up the barrier. So this is the structure. Now we made it, and the next question, how do you know it works? To what extent it works? Okay, what is the validation of the work? And this is work that we did in our lab by testing the transepidermal water loss, which is the best concept right now to measure the transport of water, because it's measuring the ability of water to accumulate on top of the skin. The higher the transport, the lower is in the skin. So you want to decrease the transepidermal water loss. And the coniometer, which actually measures the moisturization level of the skin. How do we measure it? So let's look at this and bring you to the lab and share with you how we exactly measure it.
Salvona is constantly testing the effectiveness of our products using these devices. The twameter measures the transepidermal water loss or TOL. Lower values indicate a better skin condition, meaning that less amount of water is being released from the skin and the skin barrier is preserved. First, the baseline measurement is taken with the twameter. The probe is placed on the skin and the equipment takes the TOL values over 20 seconds and the average value is captured. The value is returned in grams per square meter per hour. The product is then applied to skin and the measurements with the twameter are repeated after 2 to 6 hours or according to the protocol of the test. The participants return to the lab to have the same measurements of tool levels taken. The data is compared with the baseline and the product's effectiveness is evaluated. Different products raise or lower transepidermal water loss, and this is displayed in the data.
Great, so this is transepidermal water loss, and this is one part, and here is the second method that we use, the coniometer.
Salvona is constantly testing the effectiveness of our products using these devices. The elasticity and firmness can be measured using the cutometer. First, the baseline measurement is taken by measuring the elasticity and firmness of the skin prior to any product application. The cutometer probe is placed to the forearm of the participant. A pump performs an air suction to cause a small deformation of the skin. This deformation and how much the skin returns to its original position are measured by the equipment. The product is applied to the skin and the measurements with the cutometer are repeated after 30 minutes, 2 hours, or according to the protocol of the test. The results of the improvement of elasticity and firmness after a product application are calculated by comparing the baseline with the measurements after the product application.
So I'm sure that some of you are familiar with this method, so that's why I'm only showing a short time. And I want you to understand how we develop our product, starting from the science, then we move into the technology, and then we move into testing. The testing is the most important way to determine that our technology really works. So our technologies, what we are offering, are technologies that are being tested, at least in our lab, as a technology and also as in a finished product. So I want to show you the testing result that we got from coniometer. You see the hydration level. This is the the baseline times 0 as a function of time. We measured up to 6 hours in this one, and another one I'll show you 24 hours. And this is only a single approach, a single time, not a consistent applying, because once you're consistently applying, you get much, much better results. But these are panels that come in for one time. So what you see with the base lotion, it goes up because there is a lot of water in the product and it immediately falls down. However, when we use 2.5 or 5%, we definitely see a very nice effect of increase in the hydration level. From this study, you see the 2.5% could be sufficient and you don't need more to get a perceivable, measurable effect on the skin. However, when we go to 24 hours, look at the skin moisture increase. This is the benchmark, the lotion only. You see when you add the SalSphere at 2.5%, you'll get 30%. But when you use 5% here, you get 50% increase, okay? And with 24 hours, you definitely see the same pattern. I mean, it was applied and tested 24 hours later. You still see the effect, and the 5% is giving a better result. This is in transepidermal water loss. So what do we learn? 2.5% could work. 5% in this case works better. So these are the in vivo testing. When we incorporated the technology into a product, a finished product, and we looked at the aesthetic value, that means what people think about, to what extent does it increase the softness, elasticity, the moisturizing factor. So what do you see here on the scale of 1 to 5? The lotion itself is about 3, let's say half of the scale, and it definitely goes down by 6 hours. If you just add the seaweed, for example, free, not encapsulated, you get a slight increase, but then it falls down. In other words, the water evaporated and there is no continuous effect. Use the technology, you get a much higher effect that lasts for longer. This is all about incorporating it in the right ratio into a base. Now you can add other ingredients free, not encapsulated. For example, you can add glycerin. The issue with glycerin works, gives you an immediate effect, but not a long-lasting effect. Adding too much glycerin makes the product very tacky. So you cannot add, let's say 5-6%, a much lower percentage into the product. In this way, you can provide some moisturizing elements free and then add the technology in order to enhance it and get a better results. There are several products that used this concept. I want to show you a few. Some of them use our technology, some of them use other ways to activate the aquaporine. So the aquaporine concept is not something pretty new in the world. We have selling this product for over 10 years. I'm just explaining it again now to you guys, but this is a product that has been in the market for many years. Now let's move on to the third part, which is how to use it, the actual formulation. So we went through the science of moisturizing hydration, then we went through the technology that we are offering, and now we're going into the practical aspect of how to use it. So we're talking about products that are absolutely safe, they're paraben-free, they're sulfate-free, cruelty-free, they are used for dry product, and they're ideal for normal skin. So the first example that I would like to share with you has to do with a wash. This is a generic wash and it uses two technologies. One of them is the Aqua Skin, what we feature in this webinar, and another supporting SalSphere Even Skin, which is based on time release of encapsulated salicylic acid. And the number is in front of you, so you can look into this later on. So this wash is an example only of how to design a very sensitive wash for a wash for sensitive skin. Sensitive skin that doesn't have any issues, or skin that has issues, like it's acne prone or blemishes, and you would like to exfoliate slightly, rejuvenate, and also moisturize the skin. So this is one element. This wash, as an example, doesn't have to be used for facial wash. It's cheap enough and can be used for body and other cleaning. This is the formula of the base. And you can see it's based on xanthan gum, glycerin, 56% of water, other material, surfactants, mild surfactants. It's used Aqua Skin at 3%. I showed you the picture before, the data on 2.5 and 5. So we use something that is good enough at 3%. And we use SalSphere Even Skin at 3.3%, which is a very low level of salicylic acid, actually. And so it's very much as presented as a cosmetic product, not for acne, but for blemish. And of course, to this, you can add natural preservatives. It is China compliant. This is how we formulate. We'll bring you back to the lab.
The first ingredients that we will be adding to our water phase are xanthan gum and glycerin. We will be pre-mixing them so that the glycerin can wet the xanthan gum so that it is more easily soluble within the water. The xanthan gum will act as a water phase thickener. Now that the xanthan gum is fully dispersed within the glycerin, it will be added to the water phase. The propeller speed will most likely need to be increased, as this will thicken the water considerably. The next ingredient that we will be adding is aloe vera gel liquid. This will act as a moisturizer within the wash and has skin healing and soothing properties. The next ingredient that we will be adding is witch hazel extract. This will act as a skin conditioning agent that will help cleanse the skin and leave it feeling smooth. Now we will add cocamidopropylbutane. This is our foaming surfactant, and we are using a considerable amount of it because it is the only surfactant that we are using within this formula. Now we will add the Natural Ultra 3. This is our preservative and will help keep bacteria from growing within the water phase. Now we will add the first of our two technologies, SalSphere Aqua Skin. SalSphere Aqua Skin is an encapsulation of urea, caffeine, and seaweed to help protect the skin's hydration and activate the water flow system for cells. Now, the second of our two technologies, SalSphere Even Skin, will be added. This is an encapsulation of salicylic acid plus enzymes for exfoliation. What's great about this is that there are no negative side effects normally associated with salicylic acid due to the extended release. The mechanism of release is based on adhesion of the submicron sphere to lipid domains on the skin, where they slowly release the actives. And finally, a small amount of fragrance will be added. We chose grapefruit oil here. This step is, this is really up to you. And once this has been allowed to mix until homogeneous, this wash is complete. This is our SalSphere Aqua Skin and Even Skin wash. It's not super thick like many hand washes normally are, but that is because we don't have any stabilizing surfactant. We just have a primary foaming surfactant in there. This is what our SalSphere Aqua Skin and Even Skin wash looks like when it is applied. A normal amount of wash is used, and then a nice lather is created within the hands by rubbing. In these days and times, you cannot scrub too thoroughly, so make sure to cover your entire hands and wrists, and then wash with water. This should come off very easily.
Okay, thank you. I saw that I believe that you understand the principle of this product. And if you're concerned about is it an expensive technology, so you can see from this that it's being used for wash. Wash is typically a mass product. So the product is not expensive. It's actually cheaper than you would believe it is because we make it on a large scale. So a large scale, I mean on thousands of kilo basis. So the technology is at the right price and it's very effective. Therefore can be used in multiple formulations without any problem. This is the technology of to formulate wash. You see it is compatible with a variety of thickeners. There is no limitation of actually the charge. It's easily suspended in water and it has a milky appearance. So it does not provide you with a clear product. Here are a few of the products on the market. Some of them contain this technology, not all of them, but you can see the application of such a technology for sensitive skin wash, for feminine intimate wash, for body wash, for anti-acne wash. So these are a few examples. As I said, not all of them in this picture actually contain the full amount of the technology. From a wash, I would like to move on and present you with a lotion. But this is a very interesting creamy product that also can be washed off. So it feels like a cream and it forms like a wash. So you can use it for both applications. This product example contains, again, the same technologies, SalSphere Aqua Skin and SalSphere Even Skin. We like to repeat utilization of the same technology because that will allow you to acquire a larger volume, get a better price, and use it for multiple kind of products. So it's very effective for many of our customers to focus on one or two technologies, typically two, and then generate the whole line with these two. So here we see we use Aqua Skin again at 3%. Very few ingredients. You see we use the Lumerol, which is a biodegradable, very mild surfactant. It very much helps with the foaming. Also, the sodium cocyl glutamate is amino acid-based surfactant, very mild on the skin. And Even Skin, at this point, we are using a much higher concentration to get 1% of salicylic acid, which makes it definitely qualified as an anti-acne. Many people using salicylic acid for acne and blemishes, and they suffer from dry skin because salicylic acid is drying the skin when it's all applied at once on the skin. However, when it is encapsulated and it's time release based, it will slowly release the charge, and therefore it will not dry to the skin. It will gently exfoliate, rejuvenate the skin. But you in your formula don't have to use a high level of this technology unless you want to target it to people with acne. Okay, so here is back to the lab, showing you how to formulate the product in a
The first
simple way.
ingredient that we will be adding to this formulation is our technology, SalSphere Aqua Skin. This is a combination of encapsulated urea, caffeine, and seaweed. The time release allows for higher loading without the tacky feel on the skin. Within this encapsulation, the urea acts as a humectant and moisturizing agent. The caffeine helps to stimulate aquaporins within the skin, and the seaweed acts as an anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. Now we will add Lumerol 5019. This is a mild foaming surfactant and will make up most of our formulation as this is a wash. This will thicken the water a considerable amount, so the propeller speed may need to be increased while this is being added and afterwards. But you want to be careful to not increase the propeller speed too much, as that will cause foaming. Next we will add our salt thickener, sodium chloride. So the way this acts as a thickener is by reducing the micelle charge density within the formulation, which helps to convert these spherical micelles into rod-shaped micelles. And now we will add a small amount of Protolan AGL, which is sodium cocoyl glutamate. This acts as an anti-irritation and moisturizing ingredient. And now the final ingredient that we will be adding to this wash is the second of our two technologies, SalSphere Even Skin. This encapsulation of salicylic acid and enzymes helps exfoliate the skin, and the encapsulation of the sal acid allows for a higher use level of salicylic acid within the final formulation and gives a time release effect so that the sal acid does not irritate the skin all at once. And now, once this has mixed until uniform, our SalSphere Aqua Skin and SalSphere Even Skin wash is done. This is our wash with SalSphere Aqua Skin and SalSphere Even Skin. As you can see, it is quite thick, like any hand wash. It is not completely clear, as there is SalSphere Aqua Skin in it. Had the Aqua Skin not be added, this formulation would be clear, even though we have our technology SalSphere Even Skin in it. Here is the wash being applied to the skin. A regular amount is used, like any other hand wash, and then a nice lather is achieved. The SalSphere Even Skin in this wash will help to exfoliate the skin, while the SalSphere Aqua Skin will help to moisturize. This is nice because most classic hand washes have strong surfactants and they will dry the skin out fairly quickly, but the Aqua Skin will ensure that this does not happen.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brian. Brian and the team in our lab is supporting our formulation work. I would like to let you know that it's very easy to produce, as you could see. And several of the market products already using this technology. You can see here we're generating cream cleanser, renewable salicylic acid cleanser, time release acne cleanser by different brands. So this technology has been adapted by several of the major brands here in the US, and you can see some product on the market. Okay, our time is really coming to an end, and I would like just to summarize what we had. The major goal of this presentation was to enable you to formulate some unique moisturizing product with SalSphere Aqua Skin. I hope by now you know the difference between hydration and moisturization. You understand the value of SalSphere Aqua Skin as an advanced raw material that works simultaneously to hydrate and moisturize the skin in a different mechanism that I explained you, and you can always go back and review it. There are special properties for SalSphere Aqua Skin to draw and hold the water, and also to change the transport of water. And Aqua Skin, SalSphere Aqua Skin can work in different type of products, and it's up to you. I would like to thank you for listening to me and attending this webinar. Again, you can get samples on our website. You can connect me, there's my phone, and you can do it mostly through the app and through our website. How to do it, I will show you in a minute. How to do it, you go to the website, and in the section of Connect, you will see the people that are available for you as customer service. Me, myself, you click on schedule a time, you can schedule a time that works for you and for me, and therefore we don't need to express multiple emails. We just choose the time and we will be there. Fernanda is our product development supervisor, and she can help you with any technical issues. Again, she also providing her emails, so you can either email or directly schedule a Zoom. Elise is everything to do when you need to schedule or to talk about the price. I mentioned that the price is not a limiting factor by any means. For larger volume, you can get a major discount. So you can definitely approach Elise for price issues. Diane and Karen are both in customer service, while samples will be shipped from Diane, and you can directly contact her about the status of a sample. Other issues relating to our services and product, you may contact Karen, and Karen will be happy to address any of your issues, and she will do it pretty fast. So this doesn't take away from the local distributor. For example, if it is in Italy, in Bergaglio, so just make the attempt and contact the representative of your local distributor in order to get a communication going. The benefit of the local distributor is the language barrier is not anymore a barrier, and a local distributor may have samples available to you on spot. And also formulas that are very much used and practiced in your area. So we encourage to utilize the local distributor, but we also giving you an approach to our team, and we're all about providing you the best service you can get. If you want to use the technologies, you're welcome to do it, but if not, we can also offer you a service to manufacture the finished product. And this is done by separate companies called Advanced Beauty Labs. And the manager of the company is Mr. Jeff Gohar. Here is his phone number. Here is an email. You can contact him in order to schedule the finished product with the technology. It could be this technology or any other technologies. If you have any questions, please write them on the chat. I will try to address them. And hope to see you on our next webinars. Please check our website to get information about the next webinars, the past webinars. We are here to support your work. Thank you again. Now I try to understand your questions and so on. So, can you get a clear wash? You can get a clear wash, but without SalSphere even skin. Aqua skin, excuse me. With even skin, you can get a clear wash. Aqua skin is not clear, it's milky. We cannot make it clear, it's milky. This is the size of the particles that happen to be in this technology. So if you need to see this webinar again, it will be posted by tomorrow. If you would like further information, or if you want to discuss this information, I just explained how to connect with us on our Zoom. I will be happy to discuss in private. We can also discuss as a group. So if a group of people have some concerns or curious to know how the technology works in more details, or would like to know what other technologies we are offering, this is the way to do it. We cannot visit you under the Corona conditions, so all the visits are being done online, and I hope they become more effective. I know that they can be effective because we can talk on the specific items without spending extra time on travel and such. So please use the medium. This is a very easy way. We make it easier if you use the website to schedule the meeting.